Welcome back to the channel, and today there'll be a video on all of the PWT that I installed, and also the Silca system by Stone Deck. So you can see the deck above, it is probably 90% done. I need to fill in that area over there, get some more PWT, but definitely check out the episode about building this deck and everything that I went through to get it done, and started laying some stone up there. So check it out, and please like and subscribe, and hopefully you enjoy. Curious if this is possible. Have all these supports going this way, and wanted to see, obviously you can hanger, and then you can do a adjustable hanger there on the side because of the angle. But wanted to see, would you or could you take a 6-inch ledger lock, drill 2 holes in the middle, and go through this beam, which is 3 inches, and then it'd be 3 inches into the wood, if that would be possible to do that, so I didn't have the look of the hangers everywhere. Or would that be dumb, because I got a whole bunch of them to do? Just wanted to ask your opinion to see what you thought. Here's a quick video of a bracket into the post. So one thing, you might need to take a planer and bevel just a little bit of the corner so it sits down flush into the bracket, because you have a square post and then you have a little bit of rounded on the bracket. You want to get some 1-inch self tappers, and you put 3 of them in the bottom, just like this. 1, 2, and 3. You might need to drill a little hole first, because it takes a while for the self tapper to go through. So something a little bit smaller than the self tapper that you get. These are just 5/16 heads self tappers. You can get at Menards or Lowe's or whatever, and they're just 1 inch to 3/4 is plenty for the length. And then you can just take 4 screws, and these are 3.5 inches, and just screw it in on both sides, there and there. I always support the deck with braces and leave them up to the very end till all the hangers and everything are on. So this is what it looks like. Start putting the pavers down. They're 16 by 16. You can see there's dark and light ones, so you kind of want to intermix and mix it up. But I got the tractor, and that's high enough for me to grab when I get on the platform, grab those and slide them up here. So, but yeah, that's kind of what the pattern is. And then once the sealer goes on, it'll really pop and make it stand out with the different colors. Sealer every 3 to 5 years. I think 3 years, every 3 years. Put a coat of sealer on. Has a little bit of sand in it. You can mix a little bit of sand in it. They have some kind of special aggregate sand to give it to grip, give it a little bit of grip. But that's what it looks like. I started with a full row here, so it's straight along here. I'm gonna have to adjust this a little bit. I'm gonna pull a string line from this corner to this corner, make sure that metal's nice and straight. I eyeballed down it and definitely was not. So I'm gonna just get that fine-tuned a little bit before I get too far with the stone. Pop these screws out and just straighten up off the string line. This one, nice and straight. I'll double check that one just to make sure. And these are the pieces. These are halves, so I'll cut halves there. I'll get this all set up on some kind of level surface down here, and I'll cut some halves for that. And obviously these will be custom cuts here, but that's how it, just drop it right in. And this is the good thing with the Silca-Grate. Like when you have sister joists and you do this in between the joists, so this can span in between a 16-inch joist, and then you got to put another one, sister it, and then you have to glue it down so it doesn't slip off of that joist, you know, one way or the other down the road if you're walking on it, you know, because pretend there's no Silca-Grate here, and you're going to put it in between, and it's strong enough, it's got mesh in it and everything. They've done plenty of tests where this can go here without the Silca-Grate, so it's just an open cavity. It can go that span on there. So, and this is the good thing about the Silca-Grate, like there's hardly any, there's a little bit of rock in some of them, but not much. And I'll just take the power grab and I'll pick it up and shoot some glue underneath the ones that rock, but majority of them do not. And that's the thing that's nice with the Silca-Grate is you don't have to glue down every single one. You just lock, kind of see which ones are tippy a little bit, you know. See, like that one has a little bit of shake. You can go to this one, no shake. You can go to this one, no shake, no shake, no shake. So no shake there. So it is not every one. So I lay all of them pretty much out, and then I'll take the power grab, lift it up, put some dabs on the main parts of the Silca-Grate, and then set it back down, and then just kind of continue walking on each one to see if there's a tip or not. No tip, you know, no tip, no tip. So that's the good thing, maybe a little bit of tip, but majority do not have. Probably 1 out of 5 or 6 will have a little bit of rock. So that is a big bonus for the Silca-Grate, and that's why I think this is a superior system to put down with any kind of tile, deck tech tile, or any kind of tile. So you don't have that long space, and you don't have that 16-inch space. Obviously these are strong enough to hold it, but this you're guaranteed there's no issue. If you cut a small little sliver piece like here, you don't have to have extra backing and more zip tape. You have this whole portion that's going to be supported by the Silca-Grate. So obviously I'm going to just cut that little sliver here, and then obviously there'll be a gap here for snow or whatever, but I didn't extend it there because it's a curved grain bin, so that'll just be a gap there. Railing will go there eventually, so no big deal. I will have to put blocking underneath for the railing post. I have a whole bunch of leftover Eastern red cedar, so I'll cut 16. I'll probably cut 10-inch chunks or 12-inch chunks, probably 12-inch chunks, and then put them in underneath wherever I have my railing system. So that's what I'll do. I'll have to, you know, wherever my railing system is, I'll have to get that all marked out and put blocks underneath there, and I'll tape on top of it and then put it up underneath there and screw it in from the outside rim board before I put the fascia on. I'll get all that done. So, but yeah, this is the big advantage of, like I mentioned, the Silca-Grate. Don't have to glue every single one, just glue the ones that kind of rock. And obviously you can walk on this. If this was no Silca-Grate in here, I'd be walking in between the joists or have a sheet of plywood up here trying to set each one of these and gluing them down individually. So no need for any of that. So it's definitely worth the peace of mind. You don't have to glue any of these, hardly any of these, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6. And you can walk on this whole deck. So safety for a big reason, especially being up here high. Maybe if the deck was 2 to 3 feet low, then Silca-Grate, you know, you could probably sister the joists and do all that if you wanted to. But I've done some 4 to 5 feet off the ground. I've still done the Silca-Grate everywhere. It's just a no-brainer system. Obviously it's going to drain in between these gaps and it'll go through the Silca-Grate. So, but This is kind of the start of it. Super simple. It's just a matter of getting up here and start dropping them down, and away you go. You're just gonna go here, and this will be all the kind of custom curve cuts. So, and I'll probably bring a saw up here once I get enough down, or put the saw where it's not finished back over here with the sheet of plywood on the Silco-Grit, and I'll just start cutting all these pieces here and kind of just work my way around. But gonna get all the majority of these big ones down, and then I'll just have to cut some here and there. I think, right, when I get to here, this is gonna be a straight, but then obviously this turns, so it's not gonna be straight. So I'm gonna have to figure out, I'm gonna have to come out straight here, and then this is where there'll be a ton of cuts right through here. So I'll probably start here. I'll just line up the Silco-Grit or the deck tech tile with the lines I got going here. And then obviously the ones got going here, and then this is where all the cut pieces will be, kind of what I did before. I'll just cut this pie, and then this will be a cut pie down to here. So you can kind of see here, this is my straight line parallel to the building. That's that double 2x8, and then these members start going this way, and that's where that pie shape takes place. So it looks like it's going to lay out pretty perfect. Obviously these are 16, and these are 16, so it lays out good. So this will be a nice straight row through here, straight row, straight row. Obviously this is a straight row. That's my starter border. And then there'll be a couple more straight rows here, and then start cutting, going this way. I'll lay this straight row here. So, but that's the plan, and it's looking good and coming along. So, but that's a big advantage of the Silco-Grit. Why just lay this all down? Obviously, it's about $10 to $13 a square foot extra, but the peace of mind and safety and the ease of it, it's just a no-brainer. Just speeds up the process. Obviously, I'm doing this all by myself, so I'm not worried about the speed, but if you're doing it for somebody, you could definitely have all this tile, all the main pieces laid in a day if you had 3 to 4 guys on it. We've done that before on a deck similar to this size, and you can have all the tile down pretty quickly. So, but yeah, stay tuned for more, but that is the update for now. Up here on the grain bin deck, and this is the metal piece that goes down for the ledger. So the stone butts up against there. It's about a 7/8 piece, and the stone's about 1 inch, so it hangs over a little bit. And then here on the back side, I'm going to put a piece of fascia on the front here, and it's going to be, I just hung it over a strong 3/4, so it has a little bit of a lip, so that fascia is tucked in. And then obviously it stopped right here. I didn't want to go all the way to the bin, because then this will hang out in the middle of nowhere. So the stone is pretty much going to stop there, and this will just be a gap where the railing and snow can melt. But you put these down every 16 inches. I use these cabinet screws made for exterior. Number 8, 3/8 GRK screws. They have a super flat head on them. This is what you want, because you do not want it to stick up very much there. I'll put some power grab here, but as you can tell, these are very flat and they don't stick up much. That's why you use those. And the other ones I've experienced do not do a very good job. So every 16 inches, and then here I'm going to cut this and bend it to that angle, and then the other one will just butt up against it. You can't overlap it because it creates too big of a lip, so just butt up against it, so you'll have a little seam barely, and then you just kind of work your way around the perimeter with that overhang, and then the stone will just sit right against there, and you glue those down. So here's the stone, and you'll take that stone, and I'll show you with this one. There's that track, and that's that. Just L-shaped, galvanized, pretty heavy duty, pretty thick. It's not flimsy aluminum. And then this will basically go right into there. And like I mentioned, this is about 1.25 inches, I guess, not an inch, 1.25 inches. And this is about 7/8, 3/4, probably at 7/8. So you got a little bit of a lip there. So it's not above the stone, so you could cut your foot basically if it was above it, but it's not. So that just keeps it in. You could run the fascia up, then do it, but I like the look of the stone and then the fascia below it, so that's what I'm doing. Just kind of getting a little start. Got 4 pieces up here. I'll get those done. And then I carried some stone up here. It's all different patterns, so when you grab it from the crates down below, you want to grab from different crates and kind of intermix. So these are gonna be mixed up, and then once that sealer goes on, it really pops. So kind of want to get the layout because I'm gonna have a lot of cuts, I believe. Just slight cuts. This will be a straight run, and then I'll have some fill-in cuts there. But kind of just want to see how far the row goes out for a full one. And I'll have a whole bunch of cuts here, but it's going to be a lot of little cuts, I believe, so against the building, but that is okay. But that's how that looks. And Silca-Grate, not all the way down, but I got all the lags in and got everything else down, super flat, looking super good. I got some framing to do here still to make that a little peak. Obviously I got to trim these off and fill these in a little bit. I got to fill in this whole section, so that'll happen eventually. I just want to get the stone up here first as much as I can, and then I'll order some more material eventually for that area. But I got enough Silca-Grate, I just don't have enough PWT to finish, so I need to think 6 more 14 footers, so won't be much, but yeah, get that all filled in. Gotta get the rim board on and some other fill in, so nothing crazy, but that's what that looks like, and it's looking good. But yeah, I'll get the perimeter up a little bit and kind of get this kind of working and get some stone up here and kind of see what it looks like. We are doing a little deck tech tile, so see the color variation. It's going to be random pattern. Once I put the sealer on, everything will pop, but some dark, some light, some medium, so just kind of mix it in there. I may take some of these and mix them in other places, but that's kind of the pattern and what it is. I got the John Deere, lift it halfway up as high as it can go, grab them, set them on top of here, and then go from there. This is the bonus of the Silca-Grate system. You don't have to worry about gluing them in between joist to joist. These are made to go 16 inches on center with no Silca-Grate in between, so you can walk on these easily without the Silca-Grate. But this is the bonus of this system. Cost a little bit more, like I mentioned, but you can just start dropping them in. No extra support needed. So all these cuts I got here, they're already supported with the Silca-Grate. So this is the main reason, or I like to build it with the Silca-Grate. Any tile system on a deck, I highly recommend doing this. As you can see, this will be a straight row, and then this will be a cut row, and they'll follow the grid kind of that I laid out. These are parallel to the building, so these will all be straight, and then have a little bit of a pie cut section in there, so these will get cut at this angle back in here, so I'll go straight as long as I can until it intersects here. But this is the channel that you put on the perimeter to hold it in. You could hold up your fascia board an inch if you wanted to, but I like this aluminum channel. Heavy duty, so I got that bordered around everywhere. So I got to do more of it, obviously, and continue on around the whole deck, but I wanted to get some stone up here. Go from there. I'll mix in a little bit of sand with the sealer that they send and get this all sealed up, and it'll definitely pop and look really, really good. Getting some laid out. You can see I left all these spots open where I need to cut, so this is where it's going to tie in to the straight parallel to the building. This is to my beam, so this is where I'll have all those cut pieces. I just left them all out. I'll cut and drop those in later. These are halves, you stagger them, brick pattern lay. So those are just half pieces, half piece, a little shape there, and I'll have to cut those in, but this is what it looks like. lays down pretty quick. I'll go back and if there's any ones that wobble, I will put some power grab down. Not all of them are loose or wobble, so to speak, so you don't need to glue all of them down. And that's the benefit of the Silkagrate system, is not all of them do wobble at all. So if you had the sistering, you'd have to glue every single one down. So I'm trying to find one that kind of wobbles. That one kind of wobbles, so I'll take a power grab, lift it up, shoot glue on the strips here. I'll put glue right here on these strips and glue it down, but I do at the very end, right before I seal. I'll walk everything, take the power grab deal, or take the power grab caulk and then the grabber, lift them up, drop the glue down, get all these cut in. So I'll set the tile saw up. I'll bring it up here, put a sheet of plywood down so the feet or anything don't fall. So bring a sheet of plywood. I'll put some plastic down so all the water doesn't drip on the patio below. But these are my damaged pieces here so far, so I'll set those aside and use them for my cut pieces. But that's how it is, and all these cuts will probably be straight cuts because it's not very much of a curve. All these will be straight cuts here against the building. It's right up to the threshold. I'll leave about a 1/4 inch gap for any water and rain to drop through, and that'll be the same for everything here. I'll leave a good 1/4 inch gap when I cut all these around. That'll be tricky to notch it around here, but these rest I'll leave a 1/4 inch gap and measure those all the way around. Obviously I left a gap already, a good 3/4 to an inch, so a 1/4 inch gap with this will be good. Allow for expansion, contraction, and for the water to drip down. But that's the Deck Tech tile system, and making good progress. I will do a little bit more. I'll get the rest of this border in 2 more pieces, and then I'll probably get maybe out to here laid today, just doing a little bit at a time, 20-30 tile up here at once and then dropping them in. But that's how it looks. Making some more progress, a little bit at a time with the tile. I got some more flashing put up. This is where it has to stop until I get some more PWT to finish this area and the rim board. So this will kind of jet out from here, and then that's the rim. But that's how far I'll just lay till that point, or a good stopping point. I'm gonna set my saw up right here and start cutting and infilling everything. So gonna just dry fit everything, get everything dropped in, and then I'll walk around and kind of see if there's any ones that are moving or loose, teetering a little bit. Some of them, most of them sit flat. There's a few that teeter, and that's where I'll put the power grab, but that's the look. Once I power grab them all down, get all these cut in, then I'll put the sealer on, and it will be probably 3/4, over halfway done. This is probably another decent sized section. So, but yeah, coming along a little bit at a time at night. And we just seal it up some more. Water should not be getting underneath of that. Easy. Some more super. That's what the underside looks like. And what I did here, I ran 6-inch ledger locks all the way through. So you got 3 inches and then it goes 3 inches into these joists. So I did that everywhere so I don't have to have hangers. A lot cleaner look. So you can see I ran some more there. So those are all ledger locks and I attached those everywhere. And then I ran the truss ledger locks through FastenMaster up through into these. So no hangers needed for those, and I ran them up into the post. And if you do that, you have to have one per ply, so one per beam. There's 2 beams there that I laminated of the PWT, and you need to have one in each one. And I did it on both sides, obviously, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 ply, and then this is that big 18-inch PWT that is all laminated together.